Everything you can expect in Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. What's up guys, in today's video we'll be going over some of the features that are found in gameplay footage and things you could expect from when Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is released later this month. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, if you haven't heard of the game yet, Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is a survival crafting co-op game where you are summoned to the Misty Mountains by Lord Gimli, and you are tasked to reclaim the lost spoils from the dwarven homeland of Moria, or also known as the Black Pit, after the orcs pushed out all the dwarves from their homeland. Return to Moria is set in the 4th age of Middle Earth, and it follows the dwarves as they embark on an adventure to restore Moria to its previous glory. The game is set in a procedurally generated dwarven realm of Moria, where no two adventurers will be alike, where you can travel into the mines alone as a brave solo dwarf, or you can go with your companions to face the depths. You'll be able to mine to find better resources to craft better gear, but be aware the deeper you go into the mines and the more noises your pickaxe makes in the quiet deeps threatens to awaken dangers below. At the moment, from what I've found from doing my research on videos and going through the Return of Moria Discord channel, you'll be able to customize your furry dwarf in a number of ways, including obviously the beard. Whether you're a man or a woman, no dwarf is complete without he or she's mighty beard. After creating your mighty dwarf, you'll be able to name your character before entering into the world of Moria. You also have up to 10 voices to choose from. Depending on the voice you choose will affect how your songs will be sung, which I think is pretty cool since songs are a really big part of Lord of the Rings. There is also a cool option where you can choose if you want your dwarf to speak English or in the dwarven language. As you dive deeper into the mines of Moria, you'll come across many different types of resources, being dirt, stone, iron, etc. During one of the dev interviews, he mentioned that there will be a singing, which your character can do while mining to lower the burden of mining, which means your stamina will last longer and make it easier for you to mine for longer periods of time and get better resources at the same time. You can also sing to open up new areas, which there are ancient ruins, and if you know the right words to sing, they'll open up more parts of the map for you and your dwarven pals. Next, when it comes to crafting and your infantry as well as quality of life in the game, going through past footage, you can see that there will be different standards of equipment, may it be a lower level axe or armor piece, which I can only assume as you're progressing further into Moria and unlocking new areas and progressively unlocking new and better equipment and quality of life structures. There is going to be a hunger and stamina bar, similar to how Valheim did their mechanics, as well as a warmth temperature management that you'll have to deal with. You'll need to manage your hunger by what I can only assume by picking up different foods in the mines like mushrooms, or later on crafting a fire, and bring together different ingredients and recipes to make more beneficial food that could increase your stamina and health. There is a cool mechanic that the devs mentioned that during crafting, whether you are crafting food or weapons, as long as the resource you require to make needed equipment or food is near you or in a chest, you can craft without the ingredients being on your person, which personally is great. This will generally help keep our infantries a little neater and stop us from constantly running around looking in the chest for the right parts. Like most survival games, you'll need to find better equipment to be able to deal with more difficult scenarios and progress forward. From what I've gathered so far from some gameplay, it doesn't seem like you will start immediately in the depths of Moria, but possibly start outside the gates or entrance where you will need to prepare to enter the darkness. There is basic equipment like a pickaxe for mining as well as an axe to gather wood. I only assume that you will need to get all your wood and basic items before entering Moria to prepare to go deeper into the depths. As far as I know, trees don't grow down in mountains, but I could be wrong. There will also be different tiers of armor you can craft as you progress further, being your helmet to help protect your mighty dwarven head, chest piece, leggings, greaves, and finally a backpack. Some of the weapons that I have seen so far is your sword, axes, crossbows, bows, hammer, and shields. These will also get, I assume, stronger and better with stronger resources that you find deeper into Moria. Next, we are moving on to base building. In any survival game, you are always going to have that one friend that wants to run around and kill everything and put himself into sticky situations. Then you'll find that one friend that wants to spend hours on just building the perfect little base, aka the builder of the group. When it comes to base building, I have not found much on how it will exactly work besides for finding some stone and crafting the needed items like a wall or a door. But what has been shown already is quite cool. There will be different standards of beds which may affect your dwarf's sleep and add benefits. There is also armor racks to keep some of your armor next to your bed, possible brewery for ale. It only makes sense that our dwarves have some sort of ale around them. There will also be weapon stands, chests, items to display on walls like a shield, small forges you can craft, items, and many more you can see over here. One thing I did notice, but I'm not 100% sure if it will work like this, when building a structure like the watchtower that they show us, you can see there's wooden beams build first, then stone over that. I know in Valheim communities there's a big building section to their community with creating crazy buildings, and the trick in Valheim is managing structural strength. I wonder if Return to Moria will have something similar to this, where their building style will need to be made sure it's strong enough to support proper structures before you can just build anything, or if it'll just be like Minecraft, you just build whatever you want. Next, we'll move on over to combat. Now that we've finished with the builder in the group, combat will be an important part of unlocking and finding out more in the dark depths of Moria. So, the friend that early wants to fight, here is your part. Different types of enemies that have been mentioned or seen in past footage are orcs, trolls, spiders, and one large surprise enemy and many more enemies that will be found in the depths of Moria. There was an interview where it was mentioned that there could be a surprise type monster you'll find later into the game, essentially the final boss type of thing. Obviously it won't be the Balrog, as Return to Moria happens after Gandalf's fight and kills the Balrog. So there should be something special waiting for us in the depths, but it also may be that the case that there is more than one Balrog. Guess we'll just have to wait and see and find out when we get closer to the endgame. But in general, the fighting mechanics from the pre-beta footage would be your normal attack, you'll have a heavy attack by holding in your button, as well as blocking with your shield or weapon. I've also noticed that some enemies have stars next to their monster type, which I assume is the difficulty of the enemy and that it could be tougher to kill. There's also a mechanic where if you're mining with your dwarven friends, you make a little bit too much noise. Depending on how much noise you make, hordes of enemies will appear to find you to see where the sound is coming from. Another cool mechanic in the Return of Moria is when you come across a troll that you're struggling to beat. If you bring the troll into the light, it will turn the troll to stone, which I think is pretty cool and follows the law of the Hobbit, but also not all trolls turn to stone, which I wonder if there will be a mechanic that some trolls do suffer from light or some of them don't. I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that as well. Then just moving on to our second last part, co-op and multiplayer. It is mentioned that you'll be able to play with up to 8 players on PC, but for console players you'll be limited to 4 players only per session. At the moment there is no plans for dedicated servers, and at some later stage I think console players will be able to play with 8, but I think in the meantime just for testing they're going to only do up to 4 players per session. And finally, going through Reddit posts over on the Lord of the Rings Return to Moria subreddit, someone posted all the places they have found in the Moria through content, interviews, different posts. For one, I would love to see the Endless Stairs, but here's just a list of things that are in the game at the moment that you will eventually find through the procedurally generated map. But that'll be it from me. If you found this video helpful and would like to see more in the future, leave a like and comment on what you would like to see when Return to Moria is finally released on the 24th of September this year.